Welcome everybody to today's weekly town hall, March 13th, 2023. Thank you all so much for joining us. Today's agenda: products and development updates, documentation updates, marketing and content updates, and collaborations. Bobinson, please start us off with project and development updates.
Thank you. So, as usual, let's start with our engineering metrics. So we have the four metrics beginning with the speed, and the first one is the speed metric collected across all our projects. And right now, the speed or the time for releases, it's showing around 25, let's say 30 days a month. And it is showing an upward trend of uh, climbing up to maybe a month or more. So just wanted to explain the slide because what's happening is the developments are happening only across the legacy code base and the next. So the number of commits and peers are pretty less, and a lot of work is even though happening on the R&D and QA side. That's not reflecting here. That's why these numbers are looking a little bleak here. So that's a speed metric. Let's go to the next one. So here, as I was saying, we're doing a lot of testing and QA, and because of our automated testing, we can see that the number of deployments has gone up tremendously. So let me explain what's happening on this slide. So we have our number of deployments gone up to two or more than two during the last week. So what has happened is we had a alpha release for Peerplays. We actually had alpha release for some of the utilities also, which is not captured here. If it was also captured, those numbers could have been more than three. And we did a few releases for our automated tests. So we've been working on these Nimble-based test cases, and now we have introduced proper release management for that as well. So that is why the this huge spike in uh, deployments. So I was talking when I was explaining about the previous slide. I was saying that our the number of peers and the release time it's going up, but at the same time, in some areas, since our work is focused on the QA, that is QA and other types of release research. This is an example of where our focus is right now. This particular slide describes that in detail. Okay, let's go to the next slide. We will have the PRs. So the PRs, again, the PRs are it's showing a downward trend, and we seem to have previous week we had around five, and this week it has gone up to seven, but still it is showing a downward trend. Let's go to the next slide for the quality metrics. Now, this slide is peculiar because we had a mainnet crash, but the Dora metrics is not able to capture that because of the way it's configured or it's working. So the major quality issue that we had, the mainnet crash and the related UI bug that is not captured. So this number could have been we had uh, essentially a major crash. So this the quality metric is essentially little off. Uh, so just wanted to explain this little further because what's actually happening is we are getting the data only from the repositories, and the tool is configured to look for hot fixes. And since we have not made any hot fixes, the mainnet crash is not identified by the tool. So that's a engineering matrix. Let's go to the next slide. On the blockchain side, I think the major aspect is we had a mainnet crash, and the witnesses had brought the network back up. But there was no, it was not exactly a mainnet or a blockchain issue. There was a bug in the Nexus voting screens, which was not letting the votes uh, propagated properly, and that resulted in uh, the GPOs or the vote TKs, and that eventually brought the participation down, and the chain had halted. So there are no changes on the blockchain side to address that. And we have a alpha release, a 1.5.22. With this addresses a few of the compatibility issues for account creation and some crashes. And we're also introducing the connection pool, which was not introduced in the previous releases. So these new features and all the bug fixes are available. Bug fixes or rather compatibility fixes. So all these are available in this release, and mostly we will be able to do a beta release late next week, and then uh, move towards a uh, more towards a mainnet release. And our plan, what's pending right now is we are yet to verify against the Ethereum testnets as well as the Bitcoin and Hive testnets. So those items in the plan shown below, that's pending. But generally, I think the blockchain side looks pretty good. Okay, that's on the Peerplays legacy code bases update. On the Peerplays 2, as indicated in the previous weeks, we have a like a bleeding edge build uh, with uh, some basic functionalities like uh, limited Ethereum functionalities available to us, but we have challenges because we are yet we are yet to figure out how to handle the genesis and properly bootstrap the network. So right now our focus is on that aspect. So what this means is that even though it looks like the Ethereum related functionality is working fine, we are unable to get multiple accounts and some of the API endpoints working properly. So we are working on that. And another challenge is that in the wave consensus, which is similar to proof of stake, we have few hard coded validators where we're not able to change it right now. So we're trying to address all these so that we can continue with the next steps. So hopefully in another 2 weeks or so, we'll have a better mechanism to uh, bootstrap our network, and then we can start investigating on the consensus level changes. That's on the Paperless to R&D. Let's move to the next slide. The last update from us is the next related update. So we've busy with the GPO's voting related changes and fix for the voting bug, which I previously mentioned, as well as the verification of next against AlphaNet. These that work is in progress. In addition to this, the QA automation that is also progressing with. Uh, so we have the automation test cases against AlphaNet as well as our various testnets. In addition to that, we are also trying to automate the CLI commands, which we are in touch with the Nimble team for the same. That is also in good progress. So these are the primary updates from the blockchain team. Sorry, from the development team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robinson. Sean, documentation updates, please.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So for this week in our documentation updates, our risk discovery workshop continues. Last week, we had a very productive second and third sessions, and we expect to have one more session, which will be our final session sometime this week. So keep your eye on your invites for that. It's been coming along pretty well. Discovering and exploring risks around the bunker, our core block producing nodes, and also our risks around credentials and private keys. Also ongoing designs for the Together app, as well as using our new testnet to explore data models for peer view. So that is my update for this week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean. Michael, marketing and content updates, please.
Thank you, Kelly. Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone, and happy Monday. I wanted to focus on the active community survey, which is currently online right now. Thank you to everyone who has participated so far. We really appreciate your feedback. We're over 50% of the way there in terms of participation over last year, so that's good. Essentially, on these slides, blue is good and red is bad. And so we asked a few questions around a bunch of the different activities that we do and a lot of the different team activities, including scenes, website updates, decks, community demographics, etc., etc., etc. With respect to the scenes, really good metric on those who have completed the survey or already signed up. So that's really encouraging news for a new platform and early adoption from the community. We asked about the Peerplays website. As you guys know, there was an update done on December 1st where we did a bit of an overhaul in terms of menu structure and access to resources. And so generally the feedback is incredibly positive. So we're delighted with that. Most importantly, however, is the participation and adoption and reading of the Peerplays Vision 2023 document. There is a second part to this statement, which includes some stats on the perception and the understanding of that document, and that is also very high, upwards of 85%, so that's really wonderful. In the second row, we looked at some communications activities that myself and the team handle on marketing and content. Obviously, this is a little bit more of a mixed bag. Obviously, room for improvement. We are pretty close, really high numbers in terms of thoughts and perceptions on whether those assets provide clear clarity on what the product and development team are up to, but we also have room for improvement. Next slide, Kelly, please. A little bit more of a mixed bag on DEX. This is obviously probably normal feedback for a nascent brand new platform. We asked about community participation on the blockchain. That's pretty low and points to an area for improvement for us moving forward. We asked about functionalities about sign up and Wave Vault functionality and the market screen. So we are getting some very constructive feedback in terms of written answers to those. In terms of a way forward and improving some blockchain participation and functionality on DEX. I've listed some of the responses with respect to additional resources that people would like to facilitate their engagement on DEX. And so lots of conversations with Robinson and his team moving forward is about how we can address those if possible. Next slide, Kelly, please. Obviously, with every survey, there's a variety of responses. I've limited this screen to those that I consider to be constructive and supportive of advancement in a meaningful way. Again, I just wanted to give some initial responses on scenes, on town hall meetings, on website resources and social media. Obviously for scenes, it's a new platform that's evolving its personality. So we regard these responses as an opportunity for Vlad to move forward and add some additional functionalities to the platform to increase community engagement. We have a pretty set format on town halls, and so we're open to suggestions as to how we can mix that up and how we can improve that in terms of informing the community of everything that every team is up to on a weekly basis. And there is a theme as per previous slides with respect to some of the community feedback on what they'd like to see more of, and that's really around how-tos and demos around our products. Some comments there on governance and white papers, case studies, FAQs. With respect to social media, obviously we've had some challenges, but we want to make sure that we're providing what the community wants on a daily basis. So we will be looking at that moving forward in the next few weeks as to how we can improve and get that sentiment up to a more favorable stat. Next slide, Kelly, please. We continue to see good open rates and CTRs on our weekly newsletters, both to internal staff and the community at large. Mo created a wonderful article last week called Freedom Through Decentralization, which really places the Peerplays vision document within context of a few things that are happening both nationally and continentally, specifically digital ID in Canada, with respect to Justin Trudeau's plans around mandatory sign up for healthcare. Also, the increased regulatory stories coming out of the US with SEC's involvement on some crypto organizations, and ultimately wrapping this around how Peerplays decentralized solutions are a way forward to avoid these pitfalls and increase individuals' autonomy and freedom. It's worth a read. I just want to again thank Robinson for his participation in the weekly conversations with Mo around ensuring that we get all the deep details on the product development team's updates into our communications and into these weekly emails. Next slide, Kelly, please. I just wanted to touch upon the graphic design form one more time. I know that we have enough forms to fill out every day. The true intent behind this process is to increase efficiency between the marketing team with respect to graphic design requests and everyone else at Peerplays. So wherever possible, we're hoping that you can provide as much information up front to provide as enough context for us to kind of get an understanding as to what is being created and for when and by what timelines. So thank you to everyone who's approached this with the intent with which it was created. We're looking forward to supporting all of the future products releases with wonderful graphic designs from Oksana. Additionally, looking forward to restarting the design sprint sessions, which kick off in a short time this morning, and also working with the team on improving the kata processes and goal completion in our tracking spreadsheets. That concludes this week's marketing update. Thank you, Kelly, for managing the slides.
Thank you very much. Jonathan. Collaboration updates, please.
Good day. So these are the collaboration updates for this week with Peerplays. Within the standards category, there was the Government Blockchain Association. The work continues with that. The work we did in regards to decentralized ID, we were able to make some contributions to that this past week in regards to character identification as well as reputation identification. So those are two categories where we were able to contribute, which was interesting. That still is ongoing, so that's good. In the gaming sector, Gaming Benefits Corporation, that's in the regulated charitable gaming sector. We had another meeting last week. We're not the primary updates we're going to see from now on are going to be in the technical side of things. So I'm probably not going to be giving collaboration updates on a weekly basis any longer. But on the flip side of that, you'll be hearing that mostly from Sean in regards to what kind of technical updates are taking place with that. But that's all moving forward very nicely, so that's all good. And in the community sector, Avalon Meta with the Scenes community platform, we continue to work on that. We had a meeting this past week in relation to how elements of Peerplays would be more tightly integrated with the Scenes platform. It wasn't with the Avalon. I wasn't personally in the meeting with the Avalon team. I believe there was a meeting that passed on afterwards, though. And so what we're doing is we're focusing on the ability to be able to create Peerplays account within the platform, and then being able to transact token value. So this will make it possible for people to be able to do things like send tips or being able to potentially use the coin system that's already there, but instead having that tied into Peerplays blockchain with crypto values. So it could be a personal, it could be a community token of some kind, or it could be Bitcoin, Hive, Hive-backed dollars, PPY, whatever you might choose. So with this update, of course, this will be something that'll be available to all their customers potentially, if they want to enable it, which means that it could mean having Peerplays available to all users of their platform. So that'll be an excellent development when that comes about. For now, though, we're just in the beginning stages. So just getting together the design and mapping out the development on this. So in dedicated team updates, we had no updates on this. We are team complete. There's no gaps in our team at this time. And so there's nothing to update on that. Those are the updates for this week.
Thank you very much. 2 questions came in from the community. First question, Jonathan. Can we get an update regarding the board of directors of PBSA? Have any new board members joined since 2023?
Yes. So since 2023, there's been 2 new directors that have joined PBSA. The first meeting actually is planned for later this month. One comes from a B2B sales background, and the other is active in the esports space. So they have lots of thoughts and are excited about what we're doing with Peerplays. Their role as policy directors are to ensure that PBSA, as a nonprofit, is following its mission and its bylaws. So, for example, the PBSA can't take its funds and then go start a smoke shop or something like that. Whatever PBSA does has to be for the mission, which is to support the Peerplays blockchain, which is obviously what they do. So that's the update on the directors.
Thank you. I guess this would be a follow-up question to that. Do you have plans to make the voting power amongst the board members more equitable? What are the conditions that would lead more equity amongst the board members? In other words, what needs to happen first for board members to receive more equitable voting power?
Yeah, so PBSA actually already has proposed changes where policy directors will have the same voting weight. So I basically, upon approval in the next meeting is when this will take effect. So it could be very soon, to answer your question. So that's what's happening on that front. It's just previous setup was really a temporary measure at that time, but with the new board of directors, there's no need for that. So that's what's happening with that.
Thank you. And that concludes today's weekly town hall meeting, March 13th, 2023. Thank you all so much for joining us, and I hope you have a fantastic week.